Morning everybody and welcome to a Saturday in Sydney. Today I am super excited about unboxing this box in my office. I guess it is a bit of a mess, so we should clean that up. Hold on. Alright, that is much better. Voila. Alrighty, unboxing time. Let's zoom that in. Let's get going. So I'll show you what's in this VIP box. There's this little GoPro thingy here with a couple of notes about the camera, which is, you know, useful. And then there's this cool little breakout card that you can keep in your wallet, which features some shooting tips and mode settings, video settings, all that stuff. So this is like a GoPro little cheat sheet. This is the box. This is the first time I've ever gotten anything from GoPro, and big shout, guys. Really appreciate this. It's a great opportunity. I was super interested, of course, in this camera when I saw its announcements, when Jake Ridge tagged me in one of his stories telling me my job was over, but more about that later. Because of course it's got the TimeWarp feature and the hyper smooth video functions and all that exciting stuff that should make it much easier to create hyperlapses and really interesting time lapses, and that's what I'll be focusing on in this video. We'll be doing an unboxing of this little VIP package, as well as a first hands-on impressions review style video on the new features that are relevant to time-lapse and hyperlapse photography. There's plenty of other channels out there to talk about the specifics on the photos and the videography, like Abe Kislevitz and Chris Rogers from South Africa. Chris made a really great video about hyperlapses. I've linked them down below. Now, let's do a quick unboxing, shall we? Here we have a sleeve and lanyard. We've got the GoPro Hero 7 Black. Below that, we have a micro SD card. We also have the Shorty mini extension and fold tripod. I like keeping my boxes clean, as I'm sure you know, so I can put them on the shelf behind me. So that's the lanyard. This is like a nice little silicone rubbery cover with microphone holes and yeah, elevated ridges. Then yeah, you can just hang the GoPro around you, and there you have it. Shorty, I think this is other way around, much more compact version. Yeah, it is really compact, so that feels nice and heavy. And then I assume if you just pull it, you get a nice little extended mini tripod that you can click open like so, and then you can put it like that. So we'll mount the GoPro on there. That's pretty cool. It's a mini selfie stick, so yeah, quite useful. And then here we have the Hero 7 Black. On the box you have all the key specs. The main ones that I'll be talking about today is obviously the hyper smooth and the time warp function, but what else is new? It's got this feature called Smart Photo, where I assume it analyzes the scene and applies an HDR effect for better exposed photos. How do you open these boxes these days? Ah, there's this little strip here. It's nice. Slide that out, and there we have it. The brand new GoPro Hero 7 Black. I'm really conscious of putting fingerprints on this because I still want to shoot some product shots with my new setup. In case you've missed that video, go check it out. So this is the actual camera. It's got the Black 7 on the side, and yeah, I've got my old Hero 5 here, so let's hold those next to each other. There is not a ton of difference, to be honest. A little bit. I didn't get around to getting the Hero 6 because I didn't feel the need to upgrade and I wasn't shooting as much on GoPro, but now with all these new functions in it, I was really interested. Let's see what else is in this box. Open it up. A little quick start guide. There'll be some stickers, product information. We got a curved mount, we got a flat mount, a USB-C cable. We've got the battery, which I think is the same as the old one. Let's try that really quickly. Does it fit? It does. So that's good to know. Tap below to change modes. Cool. So we're gonna swipe to TimeWarp video. So pretty much what TimeWarp does, as I understand it, is it uses a digital image stabilization feature to create some next level video stabilization. Now you can create hyperlapse footage with this, or at least something that resembles classic hyperlapse content. Now, a hyperlapse classically was shot on a camera as a bunch of stills focused or moving towards or around a specific object. There's a bit of debate about whether or not just shooting something out of a moving vehicle is a hyperlapse. I tend to disagree with it. A hyperlapse to me is about a certain subject that you're shooting, around which you revolve, and part of the challenge is to stabilize that and to make it look as good as possible. Now with this thing, They call it the gimbal killer, which is interesting because GoPro makes a gimbal themselves. Now, I'm pretty sure that you still have specific uses for their gimbal or for other gimbals to shoot with a GoPro. For example, the high frame rate content that you want to shoot on this, which it does really well, full HD at 240 frames a second, which is very impressive, of course. But yeah, when you're just shooting outside handheld, I've seen some crazy clips and I can't wait to try this myself. I posted about this camera on my Instagram yesterday when I received the box, and quite a few people asked me already if I think it's worth the upgrade from a Hero 6 or a Hero 5 Black even. I'm not entirely sure yet. What I do know is if you're into stabilized video or time-lapse/hyperlapse footage, then the new key features that are in this camera being the hyper smooth video, which is crazy from what I've seen, I can't wait to give it a shot, and the TimeWarp feature, which is the hyperlapse mode, as you may call it. Those two are really definitely worth upgrading, in my opinion, because now this is possibly the best hyperlapse camera out there. I've made a career out of hyperlapse photography. I have my visa here in Australia as a distinguished talent, permanent residency visa with hyperlapse photography. I was around at the very start of this style of videography, even before it had a name. So it's quite interesting to see how this has taken the world by storm and how it's been built into phones and other apps, and now GoPro is obviously very much doubling down on this whole hyperlapse thing. Why is that? Because it's just such a wow effect. You shoot stuff in a certain way and it comes out looking just absolutely ridiculous. A lot of stuff you shoot, like going around a building, you get this crazy like 3D impression via a 2D medium, which, you know, usually makes people go wow, so that's pretty interesting. Aside of that, I'm not sure about what else is upgraded inside the camera. From what I saw online, there's a slight bump in RAM memory in there. Processing power, I think it's still the same processor. The new features in this camera are what makes it worth upgrading for me specifically, because that's my style of shooting now. Enough of me sitting here, let's go and shoot some stuff with it, shall we? So as you can see, we're shooting this pretty damn loosely. I'm not even really looking at the camera. I'm walking straight ahead, which is always the easiest type of hyperlapse, but I tried it out earlier and it looks incredible. So yeah, pretty excited with it so far. Let me show you what this sequence looks like now that you've seen how I'm shooting it. So doing a sideways move now, as you can see, this is all I'm doing. I've only seen the footage on the back of the camera today, but it's blowing my mind, seriously. Bam, back home, and I have to say I am really impressed. Shooting with this thing, walking around super loose, super sloppy, handheld, like holding it like this or like that, had the exact, and I mean it, the exact same results as shooting on a gimbal. Let me put 2 frames side by side and see if you can spot the difference. Well, I assume you can because you've seen the previous shot, but you get what I mean, right? The fact that you don't have to carry around the gimbal anymore for these types of shots, and these types of shots are great for any vlog or cinema edit of your travel or like a travel video. It's mind-blowing. One of the key questions I've been asked is how's the battery life on the hyper smooth stuff that I haven't tried out, by the way. If you want to check the hyper smooth stuff, check out Chris Rogers' channel from South Africa. This is some of his footage that he shot for his video. It's pretty damn impressive. Well done, Chris. Now the TimeWarp stuff, how does that impact the battery? I can't really comment on that with confidence because the firmware I was using yesterday wasn't the final release version yet. I updated it this morning and shot a little bit more today. But I think it's in line with previous GoPro performance. They didn't really talk about it on the release about improved battery life or anything. I recommend getting an extra 1 or 2 batteries and maybe a fast charger or a mobile battery bank so that when you're out there, you can charge this thing on the go. But that being said, I was pretty, I wasn't fussed about it. I wasn't like, oh, this is draining really quickly. So that's pretty good. Something interesting that you may have noticed as you finish shooting and you're reviewing the footage, you can actually see how much stabilizing is going on. If you have a sun flare or a dust spot or a dirt spot on a window that you're shooting through, you can see those jiggle, but the actual footage is smooth. That is the stabilizer at work. It's the same with any other stabilized footage, any drone footage that's been like shaky or wobbly. Those little things don't get stabilized, the entire scene gets stabilized. So look at those details and see how much of the stabilizing is actually going on. So, final verdict from a professional hyperlapse photographer on, is this the perfect hyperlapse camera, yes or no? It's not perfect, but it is pretty damn good. It allows you to shoot new angles that weren't possible before because of the way After Effects stabilization works. For example, wide angles. It is super small, super convenient. I think it's really well priced considering what you get out of it. Also all the slow-mo stuff and the extra things that I haven't even talked about in this video. Very, very impressed, very blown away. I'm gonna be taking this with me everywhere. Previously, I didn't really take my GoPro at all, but now I'm super pumped to see what I can do with this. So yeah, that's really exciting. Now, if you want to learn more about hyperlapse photography, which is what I'm all about, you can check out my blog post or my video on how to do the easiest hyperlapse sequences by yourself. You can also download a free 1-page PDF tutorial, which is down below. I get an email address from you and you get a free PDF. I think that's a fair trade, right? I won't be sending you spam, just relevant stuff. Whenever I do a big release or a new tutorial, you get that in your email inbox because I'm a creator and I do a lot of stuff on social media, but the reality of social media is algorithms control the feed, and that's just really depressing. So I've started writing stuff on my blog and I've started building an email list, and I've got to say that's pretty exciting. I just hit over 1,000 email subscribers, and yeah, that's pretty cool. If you're one of those people, thank you so much for the support. I would like to thank you for watching. I'd like to thank GoPro for sending this over, and thanks to all the people that leave comments and leave likes and that have turned on post notifications. You really do make the difference. Really appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Leave any comments, suggestions, or questions down below and I'll try and get back to you. And hopefully I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.